There is still. I had just come back from the grocery store, put on a cozy cardigan, and was halfway through preparing a batch of brownies for my book club meeting. I was stirring the batter, humming softly to an old tune playing on the radio when I heard the doorbell ring. I figured it was a delivery. Or maybe Susan from next door. She often stopped by for a quick chat about her cats. Or to drop off a casserole. But when I opened the front door, it wasn't Susan. It was Ethan. Ethan lived 2 doors down with his parents. He was 21 now, studying business at the local college. I'd known him since he was a shy little boy who'd wave timidly from his front porch. He had grown up a lot in the last few years, taller, more confident in his appearance, but still carrying that quiet, polite nature I'd always admired. He looked nervous, his hands were in his jacket pockets, and he gave me a half smile when I opened the door. "Hey, Mrs. Parker," he said. "Sorry to bother you." "Ethan, you're not bothering me at all. Is everything okay?" I asked with a warm smile. He shifted his weight from one foot to the other. Actually, I could use a little help. I didn't know who else to ask. Something about his tone made me step aside instinctively. "Come in, honey. What's going on?" He walked in his shoulders, still tense. I led him to the living room where the scent of chocolate was beginning to drift from the kitchen. He sat on the edge of the couch, like he wasn't sure if he should stay long. "It's kind of embarrassing," he began, running a hand through his hair. "I have this internship interview tomorrow. It's a big deal for me, could lead to a full-time job. But I'm terrible at interviews. I freeze up. I tried practicing on my own, but it's not working. Then I remembered you used to work in HR, and I thought maybe you could help." His words poured out quickly, like he was afraid I'd say no before he finished. I laughed softly, relieved. "It wasn't anything serious. Of course I can help. I wish you'd ask sooner. You know how many interviews I've conducted in my life. This is right up my alley." His face lit up with relief, really. "You don't mind, not one bit," I said. Standing up, "Give me 5 minutes to pull out my laptop and we'll get started." We sat at my dining table and I pulled up a few sample questions. At first, Ethan was a bit stiff, giving short answers and avoiding eye contact, but with a little encouragement and some coaching on how to structure his responses, he slowly found his rhythm. By the time we reached the third mock question, he was sounding confident and collected. That was great. I said, smiling at him, "Just keep that energy up and you'll be fine." We paused for a moment to let the silence settle. The room was warm and smelled like cinnamon and chocolate. I poured us both a glass of lemonade and sat back down across from him. "You know," he said quietly, "I think there's another reason I came over." I raised an eyebrow and sipped my drink. "Oh," he hesitated. "I mean, yeah, the interview is important, but I think I just wanted to talk to you. You've always made me feel calm and like things make sense when we talk." I was surprised by how sincere his tone was. Ethan wasn't usually so open and definitely not this forward. I tilted my head, trying to figure out what he meant. "That's sweet of you to say." He looked down then back at me. "I've been feeling kind of stuck lately, like everyone around me has it all figured out. College relationships, future plans, and I'm just trying to keep up. I don't talk to my parents much about this stuff. They expect a lot from me, but you've always been easy to talk to." I leaned forward, resting my elbows on the table. "I get it. Ethan, life at your age can feel overwhelming, and for the record, no one really has it all figured out. Not even at my age. The trick is to keep going anyway." He smiled, his shoulders relaxing a little more. "That helps more than you know." We ended up talking for hours. The mock interview turned into a heart-to-heart about life, fear of failure, and how growing up is not as linear as everyone thinks. I told him about the time I botched my first corporate presentation in my 20s, and how I thought it would ruin my career, but it didn't. We laughed about it, and I could see something shift in him. He wasn't just practicing anymore, he was being himself. Open and honest as the sun started to dip below the horizon, casting golden streaks through the windows. Ethan stood up. "I should go," he said, glancing at the time, "but thank you, seriously, I feel way better." I walked him to the door. "Good luck tomorrow, and if you need a second round of practice, you know where to find me." He turned back to look at me one last time. I meant what I said earlier. You've made more of an impact on me than you probably realized. Then he was gone. I stood in the doorway for a moment, processing everything. The conversation had gone in a direction I hadn't expected, but I was glad he felt comfortable enough to open up. It reminded me that sometimes the people who seem like they're doing okay on the outside are carrying more than they show. The next morning, I received a message from Ethan. He said the interview went better than he ever imagined. He felt confident, prepared, and calm. A few days later, he stopped by again with flowers and a thank you note saying he got the internship. As weeks passed, we developed a natural rhythm. Ethan would occasionally drop by in the evenings, sometimes to talk, sometimes just to sit quietly and read. While I worked on my garden, he never overstepped, never made things awkward. Our bond was built on something simple, understanding, and trust one evening. He confessed something else. You helped me see that asking for help isn't weakness. I've always tried to act like I've got it together, but that just makes everything harder. I smiled. We all need help. Sometimes Ethan's life wasn't meant to be figured out alone. Looking back that day, he knocked on my door was the start of something unexpected. There was no romance or anything dramatic, just a meaningful connection between two people of different ages who found value in each other's company. So when I say that my young neighbour came to ask for help, you won't believe it. I'm not talking about scandal or secrets. I'm talking about the power of human connection and how one small moment and an honest question can change everything. Someone's confidence and even their future can be changed by a sensitive truth. That's what Ethan reminded me of. Sometimes someone comes into your life needing help and leaves a big mark on it.